Nicole Gia. Thank you all for joining me today. I'm here with Alex Eppler, who is Miss Oklahoma 2014, and I'm so honored that she took time out of her busy schedule to join with me today. And Alex, your platform was actually kindness.
Yes.
So how did you choose kindness?
Well, when I was in high school, I had a teacher who assigned us this crazy homework assignment, and it was to do something extraordinarily kind for somebody else that day for our homework. And I just thought, what a strange homework assignment for a teacher to give us. And it really evolved into this feeling of intentional kindness. So I partner with random acts of kindnesses, but kindness is not random. It has to be intentional. So choosing to be kind is really what came as a byproduct of this assignment that she gave us. So that was kind of the spark to it, but really it has evolved into so many other things other than just that assignment.
And how do you convince other people that kindness is important?
I've gotten a lot of flack saying that kindness is such like a soft, fluffy issue. It's like puppy dogs and rainbows.
Right.
Nobody's going to take it seriously. But when you have a list of statistics about suicide rates in high school and younger kids, depression rates, I mean, it is extraordinary how much these rates have increased over the last couple of years. And really, the solution to hunger, suicide, isolation, any issue that you can think of, an aspect of that involves kindness. So kindness is not specific to a certain demographic. It's not just for boys or just for girls. It's not just for old people or just for young people. It's for everybody. And so it covers a multitude of facets that us as a society can really engage in and really push towards a solution. So that's why I wanted to choose it, because it covered everything, and there was nobody that could say kindness isn't for me.
Right. So you were obviously kind before you became Miss Oklahoma.
I hope so.
But after you become Miss Oklahoma, do you find it hard now that you have this sort of celebrity aura around you?
Right. Well, I will say there was one moment when I was Miss Oklahoma that I was wearing my crown and sash, and I was at a football game, at an OU football game, and a guy grabbed my arm and jerked me towards him for a picture. And in that moment, you know, my instinct was like, whoa, taken aback a little bit. But as Miss Oklahoma, as a title holder, there are moments where you have to be able to stand up for yourself and say, you know, that didn't make me feel very comfortable, that wasn't very appropriate. And then there are moments where you can kindly like excuse yourself from that, or you can just be extraordinarily kind to somebody and kind of push back past those things. So like you have to pick and choose in those moments how you want to be, but ultimately you can be kind in every one of those moments. It's just kind of like how appropriate that is for the situation.
Right. So you've gone and talked to a lot of schools about your platform, but have you found that with maybe older kids, they're not willing, they don't think that kindness is very cool, and they're kind of standoffish towards kindness?
Absolutely. And that's why you can't really say, I don't like really the words kindness and bullying, because I think they're a little bit, kindness is kind of a softer word to use, and bullying is a very overused word, I think now. And so for older kids, for high school students, I would have them do activities with me. And so I would have them there was 3 students that stood side by side, and then I'd have one student stand over on one end, and they would have to make a decision, and each of those 3 students represented a decision. So let's say it was drug and alcohol abuse. One student represented yes, one student represented no, and one student represented compromise, or kind of an 80% yes and 20% no. And so things like that really helped high school students grasp what it meant to be kind. And we did things like service learning. So I developed a curriculum for math and science and English, so students could really engage in being kind through their homework too. So there's different ways that you have to be creative with high school students, because they're not going to buy the, okay, everybody clap your hands and say that you want to be kind. It's not the same for high schoolers. So yeah.
So how do you try to implement kindness into your daily life?
So this is my classroom that I spend all of my time. And there's a room, this room is filled with 50 students every single day. And as you can imagine, spending that much time with people can be a little bit tiring and daunting some days, and it's kind of like having brothers and sisters around you all day. Can get a little old very fast. So something that I decided to do was on our board up here, I printed out a piece of paper with everybody's name at the top. So every student in this room had one piece of paper with their name on it. And on the top of the paper it said what I love about that person's name. So if you were in my class, it'd say, what I love about Nicole is, and the whole paper was blank. And so I set out markers and stickers and highlighters.
Aww.
And so everybody got to write on the board what they loved about that person. And it really boosted the morale, because we are supposed to be building each other up and loving each other and encouraging each other in this journey. And so that was one way that I could implement kindness without helping them study or taking a test for them or something like that. It was something that I could do for the people around me. And that's true for school, a workplace, anything that you can come up with, any environment that you're in. You can be creative in those ways to come up with avenues to be intentionally kind to those people around you.
Have you ever met people who think that because of your platform, because of your kindness initiatives, that you're being kind of fake in a way? And how have you dealt with that?
Sure. One of the best things that I learned while being Miss Oklahoma was if a student was talking to you, you'd get down on their level. So if a kid was talking to me, I knelt on the ground. If a student was talking to me, I sat next to them. Because sometimes when you're wearing a crown and sash, first of all, people have the assumption that you feel inflated or better than them. And then, especially when you're standing above them, or if you have a microphone in your hand, all those things make you appear to be something that in your heart you might not be. And so what I would have to say to people that felt that I was fake, it was either, okay, sure, if you want to think that I'm fake, go for it, because you might not know me yet. Or it was, we haven't had a real conversation yet. And there were plenty of students that were completely turned off by me when I walked in the room. And I remember one girl specifically, she was sitting in an assembly, and I could tell, I mean, her arms were crossed. So unhappy that I was there, did not care about listening to what I had to say. And I walked straight up to her, and I just sat down right next to her, and I was just like, hi, I'm Alex, nice to meet you. We started talking about what she loved to do, found out that she loved to write. And in my speech that I usually give as Miss Oklahoma, I started incorporating more examples about writing and being creative in that way, and what it means to like use your gifts. And by the end of my assembly, this girl was bawling. I mean, tears streaming down her face. And so I knew that it was something as small as me just noticing that this girl was turned off to me, going up to her, sitting in front of her, not being above her, and just having a real conversation. And sometimes we just don't do that anymore. We just assume things about everybody, and that doesn't help.
So if someone were wanting to start being kind tomorrow, but they think it's too big of a task, what would you tell them, or how could they implement kindness?
First of all, kindness is the easiest thing in the world. Secondly, it does have to be intentional. I used to have my little elementary school students, whenever I was doing my assemblies, always repeat after me, and I would say, kindness is a choice, and they would say, kindness is a choice, and then I'd have them point to themselves and say, I make that choice, and they would go, I make that choice. So it's really as simple as that. That is the elementary school version, but it's the same message no matter how old you are. So it's an intentional choice. What's hard is when you get in those moments where you feel that fire in you, and you want to be mean to somebody, and you want to stand up for yourself, or you want to fight whatever's going on. And I think those are the moments where you have to choose one of two paths. You can choose this mean, typical, nasty route, or you can choose the higher road and to be kind. And it is a choice that you have to make. It's not an easy thing to do in those moments, but overall it's a very simple idea.
So how have you felt that you've impacted people through kindness? Have people told you that they've done things through kindness and through your talks?
Yeah, I mean, we did a lot of community service events. So that's what's beautiful about this, is it's not specific to, Children's Miracle Network or any other organization, or a book drive, or Oklahoma Cares for Children. It's not specific to any of those organizations, so you can plug into any of those things. So, I mean, I spoke to over 100,000 students about this, and I think that's the greatest part about being kind. But yeah, I mean, the impact is so much greater than just saying like, oh, random acts of kindness, it's this great, awesome thing. And it's a heart issue. Ultimately, it comes back to like where your heart is. But yeah, a lot of people dismiss it, and they just think that it's no big deal, when really it is the biggest of deals, and you can change people's lives by literally just sitting down and talking to them, having a real conversation. From eating disorders to self-harm to suicidal thoughts, depression, family issues, all of those types of students came up to me after assemblies, because something that I said in my message touched them. And even though I didn't use the word kindness all the time, it was all based around kindness. And so that meant something to them, so I'm proud of that.
Right. Okay, so final question.
Sure.
My YouTube channel is called The Oklahoma Standard.
Yes.
So what does the Oklahoma Standard mean to you?
I really think that it just means rising to the occasion, just like what we've been talking about. Like, there are one of two ways that you can do things in a lot of situations that you can apply the same concept to. And sometimes this is the easier way, and that's not the Oklahoma Standard.
Right.
Sometimes the Oklahoma Standard means sometimes choosing the harder route. And so there's always like a stimulation and a reaction in life, and the important part is what you do in between those two moments. What you do in between that stimulation and that response. And so that's the Oklahoma Standard in my opinion, and it means just rising to the occasion and being better than what you think the easy way is. So yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.